Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-R-I-S-T-I-N-A. I found my co-host. He's been hiding lately. So as I mentioned previously, before I get started here, I'd like to request, I have this Christmas miracle idea that's not working very well. It's all up to you to help. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. And I have this idea that's, like I said, not working out, that I'd hit 1,000 subscribers for Christmas. It's not going very well, but it's up to you to help me. So if you could like and subscribe, I'm most appreciative. Please check out Flashback Mondays and Star Trek Fridays. I'm a series person. I like to read series. And I explained earlier that December is a hard time for me because of some recent deaths in my family. And so during this time, I read my comfort books. And we are doing 30 Days of Janet Evanovich, Stephanie Plum, to get us through the holidays. And we are up to the nines. I always tell people that if you're going through a situation and you need a reason to laugh, and you don't want to feel guilty about having a laugh, 1 for the money, 2 for the dough, 3 to get deadly, 4 score, high 5, hot 6, 7 up, hard 8, and to the nines, and big 10s, and 11 on top, and 12 sharp, and we'll go on. Please check out my other videos in regards to this. So, and please, if you have a chance to listen to Lorelei do the audios, you should definitely do it that way, because she reads it straight, and you'd be rolling around on the floor with tears coming out of your eyes. And she does such a good job. So we have our cast. Stephanie is a bounty hunter, and Lulu is her co-worker. Grandma Mizura is the comedy relief, although she's not too much in this book. Joseph Morelli is her on-again, off-again boyfriend. Oh, God. Watch it. Smokey, behave. You're a good girl, Smoke. Ah, shit, I just lost my screen. There we go. Smoke. Smokey, be good. We almost had a confrontation on camera. Joe Morelli is her cop boyfriend. I'm sorry. My little bud here. Oh, he left. Sorry about that. So Joe Morelli is her on-again, off-again cop boyfriend. Ranger is special forces, and he's got some secrets, and we will be getting involved with Ranger more and more as time goes on. Connie Rizzoli is the office manager of the bond unit. Vinny is the boss and owner. Lucille is Vinny's wife. We will see her later on. We don't see much of Mary Lou, her best friend, in this one. We don't see Big Blue in this one either. There's no car that gets blown up in this one. It's just a miracle. We don't see Joyce Barnhart either. But we do get to see Morelli's mom and his grandma Bella. Put the eye on you. And so we have some interesting stuff going on here. We get to see quite a bit of Tank and some other rangemen people. And Valerie is having a baby. So Stephanie has a new sunshine yellow Ford Escape that does not get blown up in this book. Woohoo! Her first FTA of the day is Punky Bella, who is greased up in Vaseline. And so they take him down, and in the middle of the takedown of this guy, what do we have at a standoff here? Smokey. Smokey, be a good girl. Check out my Flashback Monday for Smoky Flame. So in the middle of the takedown, Grandma Mazza calls her and says her mom has locked herself in the bathroom. Could she please, maybe she had a heart attack or something. Could she please do her childhood trick of climbing up on the garage roof and climbing in the bathroom window to see what's wrong with her mom? She gets there, her mom was relaxing in the tub with headphones on, listening to some music, wanted to have some quiet time. And it just goes 6 ways to Sunday. So then she gets back to the office, and Mrs. Apasenja and Nani are there. Apparently, there's this new thing called a visa bond, where you have someone come into this country to learn how to work, and you put up money or security or something, or a house or something, just to say that this person won't go elsewhere, won't leave, his bond is secure, he'll seek work, etc. So this guy was staying with these Indian ladies, and he was Indian also, and it was an arranged marriage, and the young lady really wasn't into him at all. But the mother felt that she had these old feelings that when the daughter hits 18 and 19, she needs to be married yesterday. Little old school ways, but anyways. So they say that Samuel Singh is missing, and Vinny had posted the bond on him. So they want Vinny to find him. So Vinny says no other FTAs will be handled during this time. Your specific job, he talks to Ranger first, and Ranger said he's going to need help. So Vinny assigns Stephanie to help him to find Samuel Singh. And they say that Samuel Singh was a computer geek, and her dog Boo is missing. And from the conversation with the young lady, it seems that she's more concerned over the dog than she is over the guy. So I just wanted to read this little part. I can't do these books without reading to you. Just like my JD Rob. It was 5 minutes after 6 when Ranger and I left the Apasenjas. There was still time to make dinner at my parents' house, but I was losing enthusiasm for the experience. I was thinking I'd had enough chaos for one day. I was thinking maybe what I wanted to do was get takeout pizza and go home and watch a bad movie. Ranger lounged against my car, arms crossed over his chest. What do you think? Nani never asked about Singh. She only asked about Boo. Not exactly the distraught fiancé, Ranger said. If we believe everything we hear, we've got a nice geeky guy who got himself engaged and disappeared along with the dog. The dog could be a coincidence. I don't think so. My spidey sense tells me the disappearance are related. Ranger grinned at me. Your spidey sense tell you anything else? Is that a mocking grin? It's the grin of a man who loves you, babe. My heart skipped a little, and I got warm in places only Morelli should be warming. Love? There's all kinds of love, Ranger said. This kind doesn't come with a ring. Nice, but you avoided answering my question about the mocking grin. You gotta love it. Excuse me a second. Stephanie goes home. Morelli is over. He left his keys at her house the night before, and she's like, well, they're in the cookie jar. And we talked about the cookie jar last book. And then he's upset that she'll be working with Ranger. She cleans up and goes to Tribo to talk to Samuel's boss. And Andrew Cohn is really pleasant, but his two brothers make a huge scene. They don't want her anywhere near the building. And Stephanie hears the brothers get into a fight, and she gets no further info from them. She calls Morelli. He has to work late. She calls Ranger. She's worried about the dog. They meet up to talk with Mrs. Apasenja again. They look over Samuel's room. It's a very not very room. Bed, desk, no additional, items at all. Very, 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 very empty room. He disappeared with only his knapsack, his computer, his car is missing, and Nani comes in and again she expresses her concern over the dog. Um, so Stephanie again says she believes the dog disappearance is related to Samuel's. Merely comes by, he brings her a copy of an article about Bart Cohn being charged with a murder several years ago, but they couldn't prove anything. Stephanie goes back to Triborough. Cohn comes in, tells her Singh is not the first one of their employees to go missing. There was a few others. Andrew suggested Stephanie work undercover, and she talks to all his coworkers, really gets nothing. One of the last ones she talks to says, the day before Singh disappeared, he was in the break room calling all the McDonald's, asking for a guy named Howie. Then Bart Cohn sees her working there, one of the brothers, and he wants her gone. He's very upset that the brother let her go undercover in the company. He's very upset about it. Her mom calls her, invites her to dinner. Valerie is 9 months pregnant. The father of the child is Albert Clem. After dinner, her mom tells her she needs to talk to Valerie about marriage and about Valerie getting her own place. This will become a huge thing in the next couple of books. Smoke. What are you doing, Smoke? What are you doing over there? We're having a standoff here. It's too funny. So, Morelli comes over and they investigate. She was left flowers at her door with a message. He then suggests she move in with him because someone got through her current security. She's got a whole bunch of deadbolts, and someone still gets through. Everybody gets through her door. Regardless of how much security Stephanie puts on her door, people get in. They get romantic. She's at his house. His mother and Grandma Bella show up, and she's got visions of Stephanie. So that's interesting. Lula's on her diet. This first of many, many diets. Lula is forever on a diet for one thing or another. This first it's protein, then it's a meat diet. She's eating pounds of bacon. It's just too much. They go to McDonald's to talk to Howie. He's very, very nervous. He tells them to come back at 1 o'clock. They order food. So I don't like the way Lula was looking at the bag. Her eyes were too wide and sort of bugged out of her head. I'm going to throw this food away, I said. I got it so I could talk to Howie. We really don't need this food. It's a sin to throw away food, Lula said. There are children starving in Africa. All right, how many of you heard that when you were kids? You clean your plate, there are people starving. And there are people starving in the world. And sometimes I wish that we would, while we need to help other people around the country, I think we need to help people in this country. We have tons of homeless out there. Tons. Millions. And those politicians up there don't care. They don't give a. Anyways. First off, we're not in Africa, so I can't give this food to any of those starving kids. Second, neither of us needs this food, so God's just going to have to understand. I think you might be blaspheming God. I'm not blaspheming God, but just in case I did a mental genuflect and ask for forgiveness. Guilt and fear remain long after blind belief. Give me that food back, Lula said. I'm going to save your immortal soul. No. Remember this supermodel. Have some carrots. I hate those carrots. Give me the bag. Stop it, I said. You're getting scary. I need that burger. I'm out of control. No shit. I was afraid if I didn't get rid of the bag, Lula would squash me like a bug. I eyed the distance between me and the trash receptacle, and I was pretty sure I could outsprint Lula, so I took off at a run. Hey, she yelled, you come back here. And then she pounded after me. I reached the trash bin and shoved the bag in. Lula knocked me out of the way, took off the top of the trash receptacle, and retrieved the bag of food. Here's good as new, she said, testing a couple of french fries. She closed her eyes. Aw, man, they made these fresh, and they got salt. I love it when they got salt. I took a couple of fries from the box. She was right. They were great fries. We finished the fries. Lula broke the cheeseburger in half, and we ate the cheeseburger. Then we ate half of the apple pie. You gotta love it. So then she's going after Skip, and she hears some noises. Oh, she climbs the fire escape to see if the person's home, and she gets all the way up to the fire escape to the person's window when the fire escape below her disintegrates. So they have to call Ranger for the rescue. That's always fun. Then they go back to McDonald's to talk to Howie at 1 o'clock at his lunch break, like he insinuated to them at the previous conversation. And she questions him, and his questions make her very, very, very nervous. And he gets up to go leave, and he's shot in the forehead, right in front of her, not 2 feet from her. So Costanza arrives, then Morelli arrives, her mother calls, she goes back to the office. Lula and Stephanie go back as Apasenja and Nani are more worried about the dog than Samuel. Mrs. Apasenja calls Lula names, and they end up rolling around the yard, and the neighbor uses a hose on them. So it's fun. So then she goes to Morelli's and she walks by. Grandma Bella comes by, tells her she had a vision of Stephanie dead. So that doesn't sound good. She gets email from the killer and a flower from the killer, and it makes Morelli upset. So she goes to her parents for dinner, and her grandma Mazur has got herself a wig. Grandma tells her that she heard Joe was almost killed jumping out of Terry Gilman's second-story window. And if you know this series, Jean Ellen, Stephanie is severely jealous of Jean Ellen, a friend of Ranger's, who we don't see too often. Every once in a while she shows up. And she's also severely jealous of Terry Gilman, an associate of Joe's. She's a mob person, sort of, kind of, but he works with her on occasion on undercover stuff. And they've got a lot of operations going on. In this one, it's the FBI. You know, every time I do a video, regardless of what time of day it is, that clock goes off. My next video, that clock is joining me. And I'm going to stand here and stare at it and dare it to go off. Because it's going to go off. It always goes off. I was telling somebody that every time I do a video, it goes off. And the stupid thing went off when I was... So yeah, Grandma Mazur tells her that Joe was seen jumping out of a window of Terry Gilman's second-story window, and Terry Gilman was in a nightie, so she's all upset. She's pissed off at Morelli, and so then we have another interesting conversation. Where is... Oh, she gets shot in the back with a dart. I'm a page short. I was returning... Oh, Morelli turned left out of the lot. What were you doing here anyway? I was returning to my apartment because you liked looking at Terry Gilman in her thong. Shit, Morelli said. You're such a good girl. I closed my eyes and rested my head on the seat back. You're lucky I'm drugged. Did you notice anything unusual when you parked? A stranger car, a paranoid schizophrenic lurking in the shadow. Nothing. I wasn't looking. I was making the most of my indignation. So she's just, um, they go on about other stuff. About Gilman, I said. I can't talk about Gilman. It's police business. This isn't one of those James Bonds things where you sleep with Gilman to get information out of her, is it? Marily slouched in a chair and clicked the television on. No. This is one of those Trenton cop things where we threaten and bribe Gilman to get information out of her. He found a ball game, adjusted the sound, and turned to me. So, are you sleeping with me tonight? Yes, but I have a headache. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So what were we up to? So, she gets another email from the murderer again. So Lula is back in her Firebird. For whatever reason, temporarily, she had a Trans Am in the last book. She's always had a Firebird, and it was bugging me, but I didn't talk about it. But I was like, Lula has a Firebird. She doesn't drive a Trans Am. So now she's quiet about her diet, and she's changed it to a protein diet, and she's got a cooler filled with meat. They go back to Tribo, and she asks Anthony if they have an employee named Susan. They have 5, and Clyde comes in with a Betty Boot tattoo on his arm. She talks to all the Susans, and nothing. Clyde shows her his collection of sci-fi, action figure, Marvel stuff. So it's a little creepy. My office is right here. He galloped down the hall and opened the door to his office. Look at this. I followed him in and stepped into his office. One wall was floor-to-ceiling shelves, and the shelves were filled with action figures. Star Trek, professional wrestlers, G.I. Joe characters, Star Wars, Spawn, and about 200 Simpson characters. Is this an awesome collection or what? He asked. It's fun, and I collect comic books too, mostly action comics. I have a whole stack of original Spider-Man McFarlane's. Man, I wish I could draw like him. So they go on about that. And then we have an interesting conversation with Ranger. Lula scurried behind the file cabinets and Connie bent into the nonsense paper shuffling. No one wanted to get caught in the line of fire when Ranger was in a mood. I followed Ranger out the door to the sidewalk and stood blinking in the sun. Get into the truck, Ranger said. I feel like driving. I don't think so. The line of his mouth tightened. Where are we going? I asked. Do you want a full itinerary? I don't want to get locked up in a safe house. I'd love to lock you in a safe house, babe, but that wasn't my plan for the day. Promise, cross your heart and hope to die? There was a slight narrowing of his eyes. Ranger wasn't feeling playful. I guess you've decided if it's more dangerous to be in the truck with me or to stand out here as a potential target for a sniper. I stared at Ranger for a beat. Well, I'm thinking. Christ, Ranger said, get in the damn truck. Yeah, gotta love it. They go to Marcelo's. They have lunch. She tells him about the shooting and the dart incident. And Ranger gets a file on Bart Cohn about the murder of Parisi. Then they go to another location to talk to a friend of Parisi's. The waitress gives them some vital information that no one knew before. So then when she gets home, I skipped a part. One more. There was another cute Ranger moment that I don't want to pass up. I hope you're enjoying these books as much as I am. I just hope you are. At precisely 5, I saw Ranger's truck ease to a stop in front of the bonds office. I grabbed my bag and my jacket and I went out to meet him. The instant I got beside Ranger, I saw Tank peel away and take off. I thought he was supposed to be guarding my body, I said to Ranger. Ranger looked at me with dark eyes. It's my turn to guard your body, babe. Oh boy. So we do that. Then she goes back to Andrew Cohn calls her with a vital information that says that he heard from one of his associates out in Vegas that Samuel Cohn filled out an employment application out there. So when Stephanie tells this to Vinny and Lulu and Connie, they all jump in a plane. But Ranger can't go with them because he's got a situation out there with Vegas. So Tank goes, but Tank gets stopped at security and does not make the plane. So they're staying at the Luxor, and Lula hits Tom Jones in the face with her thong. That's always interesting. Oh wait, I wanted to go back. Lula sat up straight in her bed. What's this about Vegas? Samuel Singh is in Vegas and Ranger can't make the capture. So either I go or Vinny farms the capture out to a Vegas agency. Don't even suggest farming it out. All my life I wanted to go to Vegas. I hear there's a shopping center that's just like being in Venice with canals and boats and everything. And then there's all those casinos and fancy hotels. There's the strip. I get to see the strip. Lula stopped and blinked. You're going to take me, right? Ranger wants me to take Tank. Tank, are you blanking me? Lula pulled her eyes bugged out with injustice of it all. Huh? I get to go along on all the chicken shit stuff, sit in the car while you go into Tribo, and I'm the one who goes to the back door when you go to the front door. I always get the back door. Do I complain? No. Hell no. I guess I know where I stand. I narrowed my eyes. Are you done? No way, I'm not done. I'm feeling anxious now. I need a burger or something. You just ate 3 pounds of bacon. Yeah, but the dogs ate one of those strips. I drove out of the lot and headed for the office. Okay, fine. I'll take you to Vegas if you can clear it with Connie. I knew it. I knew you wouldn't go without me. We're a team, right? Like those 2 cops in Lethal Weapon. We're Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. More like Thelma and Louise driving off a cliff. And so Connie goes to Vegas with them. So they all go to Vegas. When she goes back to her apartment to pack a quick bag, there are 8x10s all over the floor of a dead guy. So she waits until she gets on the plane to call Morelli and tell him about the pictures of the dead guy so he can't stop her from going to Vegas. While they're in Vegas, flowers arrive and telling her that she's too late, that Andrew Singh is already dead. So she goes out to, then during another moment, Lula confesses that she saw Terry Gilman at a motel with Joe 2 weeks ago. So they get into it. Then they get another package of flowers about the notice about the guy being dead. Then they get one from Ranger, pepper spray and cuffs, etc. Then they go to question Lou to ask her about Singh. She says he left this morning with the dog and never came back. Oh, no, he left by himself. She's still got the dog. So they wait until Lou goes to work or wherever she goes, and they break into the house, take the dog and the laptop. So I have a little spoiler here. I usually don't do these, but it was explaining quite a bit, so I decided to go with it. Let me run through this, Connie said. Lillian Perezzi, Howie at McDonald's, Carl Rosen, and possibly Samuel Singh are all tied to the same serial killer, and now he's targeted you. I don't know about Howie, Carl, or Samuel, but Lillian Perezzi received red roses and white carnations and a note just before she was killed. Like the flowers and notes you've been getting. Yeah. So I'm guessing he likes to taunt his victims. He likes to get them afraid before he strikes. some kind of game for him. Are you sure it's a him? I'm not sure of anything, but I suspected Bart Cohn, but the police are keeping a close watch on him. If Cohn's still in Trenton and Singh turns up dead, that eliminates Cohn from the suspect list. So that gets creepy. So then while they're in the casino, they see this guy. He's kind of suspicious. They tackle him, and they sort of hurt his back really bad. And it turns out he was one of Ranger's guys, so he's got to go to the hospital. They get back to the hotel room, and it's been destroyed by the dog. So Lula decides that she's not going to do this plane thing. She's going to drive back with the dog. So she's going to drive all the way back to Jersey from Las Vegas with the dog. Then Stephanie gets home. Do I have any others? No. She has a talk. Wait a minute. I just want to see where this. She comes home and she's got to go to dinner with Morelli at his parents. And Bella predicts that Stephanie's going to die and there's going to be lots of babies, and it's not good. Stephanie gets drunk after hanging out with Bella for so long. Morelli knows her so good, he brings her the cure the next morning, which Stephanie is fries and Coke. She goes to her parents' house to talk to Valerie. Then she goes to the office. Connie says everything worked out because the visa bond worked and they found Singh. So Connie says they have a backlog of FTAs, and Ranger has assigned guys to be with Stephanie. So they go for the first guy, he's not home. They go for the second time with Tank's help, she gets him. Then they go back to the first guy, and the guy tries to jump out the window. Stephanie runs around the back to get him when he comes out the window. Tank goes after him. Tank ends up with a broken leg. So there goes Tank. Valerie goes into labor, and you have to enjoy it. You like these books, you have to enjoy it. You have to go with the flow. Miss Angry over here. I slipped out the emergency room door and called Ranger and filled him in. So I thought it didn't make sense for Cal to stay here all night while I'm with Valerie. Hospitals don't screen for killers, Ranger said. Keep Cal with you. He's scaring people. Yeah, Ranger said, he's good at that. I disconnected, returned to the emergency room lobby, and went upstairs to look for Valerie. Cal followed close at my heels. We found Valerie on a gurney in a hospital gown under a sheet, her stomach a huge swollen mound on top of her. My mother and father were at her head. Albert was holding her hand. Julie was attached an ID bracelet onto Valerie's wrist. Oh my God, Valerie said, and her water broke. It was an explosion of water, a tidal wave. We're talking Hoover Dam quantity water. Water everywhere, just, but mostly on Cal. Cal had been standing at the bottom of the gurney. Cal was, I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard, but this is so funny. And you have to listen to Lorelai do it. She does it so great. Cal had been standing at the bottom of the gurney. Cal was totally slimed from the top of his head to his knees. It dripped off the end of his nose and ran in rivulets down his bald head. Valerie drew her legs up. The sheet fell away. I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard here. Valerie drew her legs up. The sheet fell away, and Cal gave back the fire. Excuse me a minute. Valerie drew up her legs, the sheet fell away, and Cal gaped at the sight in front of him. Julie tucked her head around, felt like, uh-oh, Julie said, there's a foot sticking out. Guess this is going to be a breech baby. That was when Cal fainted, crashed. Cal went over like he was a giant redwood cut down by Paul Bunyan. Windows rattled and the building shook. Everyone clustered around Cal. Hey, Valerie said, I'm having a baby here. Julie went back to Valerie. Is it a boy or girl? Valerie wanted to know. I don't know, Julie said, but it's got big feet and it's not a puppy. You gotta love it. So you gotta check it out to find out who the killer is and what kind of baby Valerie has, whether it was a boy or girl, and who the killer really is, and what happens to Stephanie. Um, she gets kidnapped. She almost gets killed twice. And they reveal the complicated, multi-layered plot. And I know she's cuter than me. What can I tell you? I know you could sit all day watching her, but I could really use your like and subscribe. I hope you are enjoying these books as well as I am. We're up to 10 now. We're going on to the Big 10. Big Blue, Big 10. I usually have it with me and I forgot it's over there. It's in my Janet cage. So anyways, please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. And please join me for Star Trek Fridays, Flashback Mondays. You watch or play at the end of the Flashback one this week. And please check out my JP Beaumonts this week too, and all the other videos I've done. I need all the help I can get. So thank you so much for joining me. Most appreciative.